Welcome to Market Recap Live. I am your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God it's Monday. Tonight, we are taking a look at ticker GS. You might know them better as Goldman Sachs. The Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated was founded in 1869 by Marcus Goldman, with the first office opening in New York City, New York. Now they are a $263 billion publicly traded company in the capital markets industry in the financial sector. They are listed in the S&P 500 index. Some of Goldman Sachs competitors are Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, and Bank of America. We're going to review Goldman Sachs earnings with website. We're going to review Goldman Sachs earnings, their website, and visit the charts to perform a quick technical analysis. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check our stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a YT in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, and put an FB in the chat if you're tuning in from Facebook. While you guys are filling up the stream and the chat, here's the mission statement. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to these earnings. That's not it. Hold on. There we go. All right, Goldman Sachs, ticker symbol GS. The $262.78 billion company reported its first quarter 2026 earnings today. They have a 52-week high of $984.70, which took place January 15th, and a 52-week low of $492.69 that occurred April 16th last year, which is a trading range of $492.01. And they closed today at $890.79. Goldman Sachs earning report beat on the top line, reporting revenue of $17.23 billion, which was higher than the market expectations of $17.16 billion. And beat on the bottom line as strong performance in global banking and markets and higher equities financing revenues drove growth. EPS was higher than the analyst and market expectations of $16.55 when they reported an adjusted EPS of $17.55. Goldman Sachs reported a GAAP net income of $5.63 billion, which was higher than the $4.53 billion net income they reported the same quarter last year, which represents an increase of 24.3%. So for the first fiscal quarter of 2025, their net profit was approximately 19.5% lower than it is compared to now a year later. The earnings were released before the market opened, followed by a 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time conference call. As far as guidance, management expressed confidence in their position businesses despite a complex geopolitical landscape and volatile market conditions. That 52-week high compared to today's closing of $890.79 represents a decline of 9.5% over a span of approximately 3 months. So if someone invested $1,000 in January this year at that 52-week high of $984.70, they would be seeing a loss of $95.37. All right, let's check this chat. Let's check the chat. We're good on the chat. Let's talk about why we visit these company websites. We're looking at the visuals and text to find answers to these key questions. We added a few. What good and services do the company sell? How important are these goods and services to their customers? What makes this company stand out from the competition? And how well do they take care of their employees? To find these answers, we browse 4 Key areas: the homepage for goods and or services, about us for purpose, vision, and mission statements, careers for employee benefits and opportunities, investor relations for SEC filings, and stock quotes. And for your convenience, all companies' websites are featured in tonight's live stream are down in the description. And that is not the actual case, because I have Goldman Sachs, I believe, down in the description, but we don't have the winners and losers. So I'm gonna share those with you when we get to them, okay? And I'll update them later, but we got to keep the show rolling. So let's go to Goldman Sachs website. Let's go to the website. Blow this up. All right, so we're on the home page, and we know that they are in the financial sector. And here's a bunch of news on their main website, insights on the financial markets. They're covering news about the global economy. Now, the link for this website is in the description if you see something that interests you and you want to skim over. I need to put this back on the screen. I don't have this on the screen. Let me see something. There we go. There we go. So we got that on here. Goldman Sachs. Okay. So I am looking for something else that I don't have on the screen right now. So let me cut that on while I'm looking for this. Benefit. I'm looking for the about us. So I see overview, but that's dealing with like careers. Our businesses. I don't see anything that says about the company. So we're going to look back at the top of the page and see if we can find something there. So let's scroll up to the top. What we do. There we go, right there. So they have it right here. I don't see a, let's see, explore our business, explore our business, our businesses, global banking and markets. Clay. Okay. So it looked like they're focused on more about what they do than actually discussing how they go about doing it. And that's why I like looking at the purpose, the vision, and mission statements. But I don't see them when it comes to this company on here. I don't see it. They have this little paragraph right here talking about what they do. So it's more about the description of the company instead of how do they expect to stand out from other companies that are in the same industry. All right, so after we cover that, we're going to look at the careers, because we scrolled the homepage. We looked at or tried to find the mission statement and things like that. So now we're going to look at the employee information, the benefits. All right, here we go. Benefits, wellness, and compensation. This is standard. They go into more details about the type of insurance that they offer. And I have a video down in the description, actually a playlist about life insurance in the description that you can check out, because it looks like they offer something that I'll discuss in part 5 in that life insurance series. Accidental death and dismemberment. I don't see anything else that I might have covered in there. Life insurance through your, I think they don't say group life insurance, but I cover that in the video as well. Health services, fitness. I'm looking for like financial benefits. Like what type of financial benefits do they offer the employees? Even if it's like paid time off, like some websites go into more details than others, or the company doesn't even offer it, but that's that. So let's move on to investors relations and get the stock quote information. So here's the stock information on the website. I'm looking for any other tools they might offer. This just looks like a whole bunch of news on this page. I don't see any other options. So most likely, nope. Can you click this? No. Wow. So they don't offer any charts or stock quotes, and they're a financial company and they don't offer that on their website. Seems kind of strange. Am I overlooking it? I don't think so. That's a really bland stock information to have on their website, and they're an investment company. I don't know. Seems kind of strange to me. But let's go ahead and look at the Thinkorswim charts. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do this. Before we look at the charts, remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited. Traders lose critical detail and advanced platform features on a mobile screen. So be advised, trading from a phone is usually the least effective way for managing assets. To see every detail, use a full trading platform and watch these streams on a computer or TV, and only use your phone as a last resort. Now let's look at the charts for GS. Let's go to Thinkorswim. All right, I already have them pulled up. I want to make sure that we keep this on the screen just in case somebody joins the stream while we in the middle of this. They know what we're looking at. So we are looking at a 1 year daily chart for Goldman Sachs. And glancing at this, they're really clean. They're clean on the technicals. They are clean on the technicals. I would say the support and resistance that's catching my attention is right here. So it's like at the bottom of this candle on March 13th. And if we zoom in over on this area, we can see how it tested it a few times. It was tested 4 days here, here. It was dancing around it. It wasn't clean because some days you had price action across that line, but that still looks like a clean line to me. You see how many days it stayed just above that support, and this wick dipped out of it. This fell below it. You could draw a zone, but I see that as a support and resistance line. You could draw it as a zone, but I see it as a line. If I was to draw it as a zone, just to show you what that would look like, it would go below it. It wouldn't go above it. So I'll show you what I mean. I would see this as a support and resistance zone, like this right here. So now if we did that and we zoom back in at that area, you can see how it catches the bottom of the zone here and rides that zone, and this goes right through it. That's how I would do it if I was to use a zone. But I think it's clean enough just to put a support and resistance line. So right now it's being respected as support from this candle right here, which was the March 13th I was talking about. So let me zoom in. So right here, we're not going to use no arrow. Let me take that off. We're just going to use a circle. I'm just going to use a circle to highlight that candle. That right there. That candle right there is the one I'm looking at. And now it's hard to see it with the, let's go to properties. We can change the color of it slightly to something that'll stand out. Something that's not too crazy. I don't know. Let's just go with yellow. Is that fine? Yeah, that makes it pop. So that's the candle I'm looking at that respected that support and resistance. And now it's in an uptrend. It's still trading above the 200-day simple moving average and the 9-day simple moving average. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm saying. The dashed green line is the 9. The dashed white line is the 200. So for 3 days, actually, for 3 days. So if today's Monday, this was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, leading up into earnings, it was struggling to get above this area right here. So we can look at that as a resistance zone. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to draw that as an area of resistance, but I'm going to come further back to my left to get some more candles to get the zone going. So I'm going to say this is a resistance zone. And now we'll zoom back in so we can see what that looks like. So that would be the resistance zone. This price needs to get above this zone because it had a hard time getting above it leading up into earnings, which was today. So that's my quick technical analysis on Goldman Sachs. So let me cut on my floating data box. And we're going to get the stock quote today since their website didn't have it. So Goldman Sachs opened at $875.55. They had a high of $896.94. They had a low of $865.34, and they closed today at $890.79, which was a trading range of $31.60. And when we look at the trading volume for today, it was 4.2 million. I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at right down here, that bottom floating box. And my labels are not on the screen, so let me put those on the screen so we can look at the volume. We don't need the relative strength. We don't need the VIX. Click apply. Zoom this back in, cut the floating data box off. All right, so let's talk about the volume. So when we look at the volume over here, we can see that the average volume for, take me off the screen, the average volume for Goldman Sachs was 2.1 million. So this is what they usually trade in a trading session. They usually trade roughly their average 2.1 million shares of this stock in a day. And today they traded 4.2, which is double. 4.2 million, which is double than what they usually do. So when we look at the volume rank percentile, it was 97.6%, which means out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 6 days had more volume than today. So it was some good volume pushing behind this price when it opened today, just below that 9-day simple moving average. And just to get a peek, let's go ahead and look at the 10-year weekly chart. So now these are weekly candles. And when we look at this, Goldman Sachs has been trending up. I'm gonna zoom in from this week. So the week of April 7th, 2025, I'm going to use this tool to link this low of that week to the high, to the 52-week high, so we can see what that percentage gain was from that low to that high. And it was over 100%. So this is another one of those examples of an opportunity that was in the market of investing in one in particular stock or company that presented a over 100% return in less than a year. So it said this happened in 280 days. And these are week candles. Just to remind you, we're looking at a 10-year weekly chart. But still, we can see how many days this trading range was. We almost catch one of these every time we do a live stream. Now, tracking the S&P 500, which is what we're about to cover next. Average returns on that is between, if I'm not mistaken, 7.5% to 15% a year on average. And no, this does not happen all the time, what we just seen, but I just want you to see that it's possible. It is possible to invest in one company and get a return of over 100%. And we see this frequently, actually. You have to get it at the right price and sit there, but we see this frequently. So let's go over to the next part. Let's go. Let's move on. We did our quick technical analysis for Goldman Sachs. So let's move on. Let's move on. My little prompter is messing up. Give me 1 second. 1 second. So back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you wish to send a monetary gift to support the content, Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description, as well as the ticker on the screen. Okay, let's look at what the S&P 500 index did today by using the SPY ETF. This ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the S&P 500 index by tracking its performance. So let's go back to the charts. And we're going to right up here to the symbol box and type in SPY. So there is the SPY ticker, and there is our banner for that to be on the screen. We are still looking at a 10-year weekly. So let me change this over to the 1 year. It's got to zoom in, don't it? Let me move these bars over. So we go to time axis, put this on 20, click apply so this can drag this over further. It's a little too far, but okay. So we're looking right here. So today it looked like they had good volume, but I'm looking at the move. The SPY is recovering from this low we had at $629.28, which occurred on March 30th this year. And now today, since this low, today reached a new high of $686.30. So I'm gonna use that tool we just used on the last one to see what percentage change this is from the bottom of this low on March 30th to the high of today. And that is a 9.12% return over a matter of 14 days from that low to today's high in the SPY ETF. I'm gonna remove this drawing. Now, I don't see any new technicals on here. I think if we were going to look at an area of resistance, I would put it right there. I would put it right here because it was tested here. It failed. It was tested here. It was wrapped around it in this area. But you can see it like tested that area a lot. It was a few times where it got above that $689.22, but that's what I would look at as being the next area of resistance based off where the price is right now. So today it didn't reach it, but it's approaching it. And the 9 crossed over the 200 simple day moving average. So the 9-day simple moving average crossed over the 200-day simple moving average today. And now we're going to get the ETF quote because it's not an actual stock. It's the ETF quote for this today. Those are the quick technicals. Let's go ahead and look at the stock quote. So the SPY opened today at $677.41. They had a high of $686.30. They had a low of $676.58. And they closed today at $686.10, which was a trading range of $9.72. When I look at the volume, their volume for today was 54.1 million shares of this ETF was traded in today's session. And when we look at the volume, it looks like the volume was extremely low. So let's discuss that. So when we look at the volume rank percentile, it was only 7.5%. So the average volume for the SPY is 77.4 million. And today, they only had 54.1 million. And on Friday, they have 42.2 million. So the volume is increasing, but it's weak. The volume is really weak compared to what they usually get. And if we break this down, like to actually look at the most recent 252 trading days and compare that volume with today, then only 19 days out of the most recent 252 trading days had lower volume than today. So that's what we're getting on the SPY. All right. We making good progress. Now let's look at today's winners and losers. But first, we're going to look at the loser because we can't end the night on a so we can end the night. So we can end the night on a high note. I don't like looking at the losers last. We're gonna look at the loop. We're gonna look at the what is going. You know what, guys? Let me take a breath. I had a long day. I'm pushing through this live stream, smiling and laughing. I'm hot. I had a headache. It was pounding behind my eye. I'm just going to tell you, please excuse me with how I'm stumbling over everything and I'm all discombobulated. I really didn't feel like doing this tonight, but in order to be successful, I got to push through this. I got to do it anyway, regardless of how I feel. So we're going to get this together, and I just needed to slow down, catch my breath, and just tell you what's going on and stop looking like I'm just out of it, because I sort of kind of am because of how I'm feeling, but I'm feeling a little bit better as far as my mood, but I'm jumbling over what's going on. So let's slow this down a little bit. First, we're going to look at the loser so we can end the night on a high note. We always end the night looking at the winner last. So let's go ahead to the charts and check out the loser from the S&P 500 index. All right. So let's go over to the market watch. And we already have it pulled up. So we got the S&P 500 watch list pulled up right here. We got the percentage change clicked. And the biggest loser for today is ticker FAST, ticker FAST. And they lost 6.85%, 6.85% today. Their previous close, so their close on Friday, was $49.17, and they closed today at $45.80. So if someone had invested $1,000, we'll pull up the calculator so you guys can see it, $1,000 and lost, we're going to do a decimal. That's 6.85%. They would have lost $68.50. So I'm going to negate this, make it negative, and add the $1,000 principal back to it. So that's the initial investment capital the investor started with. Losing that $68.56 would that $68.50 would bring them down to $931.50. Okay, so now let's go to analyze so we can take a deeper dive and look at this company. So we already know the ticker is FAST. They are in the industrials sector. And if I take me off the screen, we can look at the company profile. So it looks like it's Fastenal. Fastenal company, here's their website. Now, I didn't get a chance to put these links in the description tonight. I'm gonna work on that to make sure I had that ready moving forward. But here's the link right here. You can see it. So let's read a little bit about the company, and then we're going to visit their website. Fastenal Company, together with its subsidiaries, engages in the wholesale distribution of industrial and construction supplies in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and internationally. It offers fasteners and related industrial and construction supplies under the Fastenal name. All right, that's all we're doing. Now let's go over to their website. So we're gonna do that. We shouldn't have had we shouldn't have had the SPY up on the screen while we was reading that. So let's fix all that and get that together now. Fastenal. So we are looking at this. So that's their website. We got that going. We got Fastenal on the screen. We took the SPY down. I hope nobody saw that, but we good. We got everything lined up now. So now we're on Fastenal's website, and then look, we already know the goods and services. They sell industrial supplies to different companies, businesses, et cetera, et cetera. They offer all different types of things. Saying fasteners. It started with just nuts and bolts, I'm guessing. And then they expanded to all different types of stuff. It's another company they remind me of. Uline. I think the company name is Uline. So these are all the different types of products that they sell. These are just categories. So it looked like it's not this light bulb. I'm sure that's one of them, but they they sell lighting, hardware, like it's real specific. These are categories, even though they have a picture representing it of those things. So it's very clear on what their goods and services are. So let's look for their mission statement, purpose, and vision. Let's zoom in. So right here, about us, let's look there. Who we are, we found it. Now, this wasn't hard to find, unlike Goldman Sachs had us on what I like to call a dummy mission. We sit up there trying to figure out what Goldman Sachs doing. And they like, yeah, we take your money, we do stuff with the money. We be all over the world globally banking and things and financial stuff like that. That's about as much details they was giving. So they talk about their values, who we are. You can read this on your own time or glance at it real quick. I'm not going to read all of that. So they break down their history and their culture here. So they talk about what they offer. So I'm going to read this. At Fastenal, we don't just pack and ship orders. We offer a variety of services and solutions to help you solve problems, reduce costs, and achieve your strategic business goals. I like that. That's simple and sweet. Now they talk about why companies decide to go with them. They have a video here that you can check out. And they share how they actually go about delivering their goods and services. And they talk about the number of countries they serve and things. I'm glancing over it, so I'm talking to you so it's not dead air during the video while I'm glancing over it. I like their trucks. I don't think I ever seen one of their trucks though, because the way they marketed it when you first went to the website, let me see if it pops up again. When I first pulled up the website earlier, there you go. I haven't seen one of these trucks. Like I've seen Amazon trucks. I think I've seen like Kroger trucks and things like that. But the way this company markets itself from how their website look, I would have expected seeing one of these trucks before, but I haven't. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying I never seen it. So maybe they're in a specific not a region with the trucks. I don't know. But about us, we did that. So let's go to careers. So we looked at the homepage, who we are. So they talked about that again. And I think they zoomed us out. So let's zoom back in. Let's zoom back in. There we go. Who we are. I'm going to scroll over and see what else they putting up here. What we value. The culture and some videos. Did I even click on that? I don't remember clicking on that when we were looking at the About Us. I don't even see it on this page now. So you can search the different careers that they have available. They talk about empowering people, recruitment. So they walk you through the application process, which is dope. I like when companies do that. So at least when you apply, you know what to expect and how to go about what they do. I don't see anything about the actual benefits. Maybe I'm moving too fast. Review, phone interview. Okay. Yeah, I don't see that. Opportunities. Okay. So here are the different positions that they have. So you can use the search or you can click on a specific position that you want. Employee develop. Here go the benefits. Bam, right there. How did I miss it? She's happy. So here's where they break down the benefits that the company offers. So I'm looking at this. I'm glancing over this to see if they had. So this is in the company training. I was trying to see if they did like educate. And I don't even think it's called educational reimbursement. I think they call it tuition reimbursement, or when they fund your education or reimburse you for you spending money on your education. This looks like courses that they offer within the company to help you advance and grow into different positions. Okay. And they offer stock to you through the company, from what I'm seeing. Okay. And man, I'm going to add the links to the description for these websites when the stream ends. So if you're rewatching this, the links for the website should be in the description. So that's why I'm saying it's down there now. So if you're watching this live, it won't be there. But if you're watching this played back, the links will be in the description for your convenience. So you can come to these websites and browse through them and look for anything that interests you. So now let's go to the investors relations section, which I done just went up and down 2 or 3 times. It's not on here either. I already went to the bottom of that. We need to go back to the main page. I don't think that's the main page either. Oh, come on. Take us to the main page. Is this it? Yes, we back to the main page. So down here, investors relations. Here we are. Did they zoom us out? Yes, they did. So let's put us back at the 150. So here they talk about the company again, about Fastenal. Some news, some videos, upcoming events. I like that blue. I know we've been looking at it for a while for me to just bring it up, but I really do like that blue. And I like how they grade this out to make that blue pop. I like that. I like that. So here's the stock info information so we can see where to find that. Here's the stock information they have right in front of us. Usually if this is clickable, we can just go to where the stock quote is just by clicking this. So they do trade on the NASDAQ. There's the ticker. So I'm gonna click on this and see if it takes us to the stock. It does. So here's the stock quote information they have available on their website. Here's the chart that they have and more tools for you to be able to look at different ways you might be interested with putting your money to work with this company. Now let's go ahead and look at the Think or Swim platform. Let's go back to Think or Swim. We already have them pulled up. Why do we have the SPY? We don't need the SPY here. This is supposed to be fast. That's not it either. Here we go. Now let's go to the charts. Ooh, that's right. They the loser. I wasn't expecting that. I forgot we spent so much time on the website. I forgot they was the biggest loser today. Boy, that red candle right there is nasty. That's why I was like, oh. So it's not just the size of the candle. So let me break down what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how many candles can fit inside this candle. So I'm gonna show you what I mean, so you can see where my imagination is at. Like, what are you talking about? He just talking about the size of the candle. No, I'm not just talking about the size of the candle. So I'm cutting back on the snap. This is the open, high, low, close. So we're going to create a rectangle box to the open, low, close, and high. And I'm gonna just go ahead and use the tool so you can see what I'm doing. When I mouse over this, cut on the floating data box, just cut it on. Just cut it on so you can see. Now, when I mouse over that candle, you can see the high was 49. All right. So now that I know the high is 49, I can set this rectangle specifically to that number. You see where it says 48.79? I go ahead and type in 49, and now I have it perfectly to that high. So when I say ooh wee or wow or whatever, the trading range covered all of these candles. So it's not just the size of the candle, it's how many days, because we're looking at a daily chart, it wiped out profit compared to where the close is now. That's not the close. So if somebody know what they're looking at, we actually did it from the high and the low. So if we wanted to be specific, I would cut the floating data box back on, mouse over it, and we're going to look at the open and the close prices. So that was 48.74 and 45.80, 48.74 and 45.80, 48.74 and 45.80, 45.80, 48.74, or was it 49.74? No, it's 48.74, 48.74. And now that's the open and the close. Because that's a red candle, the open is going to be at the top of the body. So that's this area right here. That's the open and this is the close. So based on where it closed today, every price action part of a candle from here on down, if they were long, which means they buy low, sell high, everybody that bought to open a position above this area is losing money now. So I'm looking at how many people are caught in losing. That's when I was like, wow. So I can explain to you why I was shocked when I seen it. It wasn't just the size of the candle, it's understanding what I'm looking at. So it is still trading above the 200-day moving average, but it closed very strong to the downside and closed convincingly below the 9-day simple moving average. If I'm looking at support and resistance, this stock looks like it's going to be more so zones. I would say zones. We can use this as a support and resistance because these two came to almost the exact same spot, even though they're wicks. The candle here on February 4th and the candle here on March 5th. Even though they're wicks, they came to the exact same spot. So we're going to say that's resistance. So this is Monday, so this would be Wednesday. So on Wednesday, it failed to reach that previous area of resistance, but it pushed through it on Thursday and it closed here on Friday. So this is an inverted hammer, if I'm not mistaken. So you have an uptrend here. It's already trending. And then this is a pattern. These three candles actually form a pattern. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I do know that this candle right here is an inverted hammer. So this was a bearish pattern indication about what might take place next. And then leading into earnings and the volume that it got today really pushed it down to the downside. So if I'm looking for support, I would say the first area of support I would look at would be the 200-day simple moving average. This would be my first area of support. It wouldn't be anything that's going on with the price action. It would be the 200-day simple moving average, because the stock itself looks like it was already. Let me drag this over. I'm blocking some of the stuff I want you to see. It's been in a steady uptrend. Let me take me off the screen. It's creating higher lows. So this low here didn't really come back down and get tested. So if I put a line on this low right here, you can see the price never came back down to that area. So I'm gonna remove that. Now here, this low from this candle was tested. So you can see what I'm looking at. It tested that. And then this was the next higher low. This went up, this pulled back, but I'm going to say this was still part of the uptrend. So this went up, then it pulled back. So this would be the pullback. Now that level didn't get tested. This is a higher low. This is a lower low compared to this one, but it wasn't lower than this one. So this area of support still never got tested. Now, if we look back over here, that area where it was support, this was tested as support. Over here, it was resistance. So that's what I'm looking at. So that's why I'm considering this the next area of support, the 200-day simple moving average, the dashed white line. If I had to do a support or resistance area, I would look at this as a zone. I wouldn't look at this as like just a line. I would extend this over, of course. So let me edit the properties. So if you want to extend it over to the right, what you can do, you can just increase the date. You see how it says April 18th? Just increase the date. So if you wanted to take it out to like May 15th, for example, it'll extend it over to the right. So that's another way for you to be able to do it. So you learn some more with that. So let's get the stock quote for this loser. We still got a winner to cover today. We did a lot of technicals on this. This was supposed to be quick. Let me put me back on the screen. So now when I'm looking at this candle here, We're going to cut back on our floating data box and talk about the stock quote for this candle. So they opened today. Fast opened today at $49, at $48.74. They had a high. Hey, Dad, I never looked at the chat. I'm going to get with the chat in 1 second. So Fast opened today at $48.74. They had a high of $49. They had a low of $45.27, and they closed today at $45.80, which was a trading range of $3.73. And when we look at the volume, they had 16.2 million shares of this stock traded today. So let me pull up some of these chats that I missed because I was all locked into the technical analysis. To go back to the main, I see my brother. Cover him first. Kingpin, what's up, bro? He's in Atlanta. Sometimes when he put the abbreviations for the states in, I don't know where he is. So this time I know he in Atlanta, and then my dad is tuned in. Hey, Dad, appreciate you for checking out the stream tonight. I usually don't even have no chats coming through, so I ain't even paying no attention. I got locked into what I had going on, but thank you guys so much for those chats because it helps out the channel a lot. And if you can, go ahead and hit that like button. Let me get back to the charts. So we were covering the volume. So let me take me off the screen so we can talk about the volume. So when we look at the volume, and we'll take the floating data box off. We look at the volume rank percentile, it was 97.2%. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 7 days had more volume than today with that huge red candle we were looking at to the downside. The average trading volume for this company is about 7 million shares traded within a day. So since they traded 16.2 million, that's more than double. And then on Friday, they traded 7.2. So they were just above average on Friday. So they definitely had significant volume today. And today is actually earnings for this company as well. So we covered Goldman Sachs earnings, but this company had earnings today as well. So that actually explains at least a little bit behind the volume, because companies usually have more trading volume around on and around earnings. So leading up to, just behind, and definitely on earnings day. So that explains the volume that we're seeing with that company. So let's go back to Market Watch so we can talk about today's winner. So we can put that ticker on the screen now. So Oracle is the winner. They had a 12.69% change to the upside. They gained 12.69%. Their close on Friday was $138.09. They closed today at $155.62. So if someone invested $1,000 at the previous close and held it to today's close, or sold at today's closing price and got that 12.69%, they would have gotten a gain of $126.90. I wanted to just say it, but since I stumbled over it a little bit, I'm gonna pull up the calculator and just do the math. So here's the math for that. You put in 1,000, put in 1,000 times 0.1269, and that's the $126.90. We add the investment principal back to it, which was the $1,000. The $126.90 will be your ROI. That will be your return on investment. So the total investment would have grown to $1,126.90. So that's how we do that on the calculator. Now let's go over to analyze after we select Oracle. Come over to analyze, and we can see the ticker symbol ORCL. They are in the information technology sector. Take me off the screen. Here's the company profile information right here. Here's the website. After the stream ends, I will update the details. So the link will be down in the description for your convenience. It's oracle.com if you want to look it up and follow us over there, or look at it on your own time. Oracle Corporation offers products and services that address enterprise information technology environments worldwide. It's Oracle's cloud software as a service offering include various cloud software applications, including Oracle Fusion, Cloud Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, Oracle Fusion, Cloud Enterprise Performance Management, EPM. Some of this stuff I don't know. I would look it up on AI to get specific details, but let's go over to their website. So here is Oracle's website. We are looking at the home page. Let me put me back on the screen and put Oracle's information back up here. Glad I caught it. So I was blown away by the first time I seen this because I didn't know what this. I'm like, this looks like an energy center. Guys, AI uses a lot of power. So some of these data centers actually have power plants and they generate their power right around their data centers. And that's exactly what they're saying right here. This is a 1.2 billion watt Texas data center. And they have 500,000 NVIDIA GPUs. So that's another company that can be invested in, NVIDIA, which we haven't covered yet. I don't think we haven't covered them yet. But AI draws a lot of power. So if you've been tracking what's been happening in the market, everybody's been associating the rise in prices in energy or the surge in energy stocks and things like that to the war and gas. But it's also dealing with this because of cloud. We have so much online information and data that we're processing all the time. Like YouTube by itself, millions and millions of videos are uploaded on YouTube every day. That stuff, and it's years of data that's still on YouTube. That stuff takes up a lot of space, information, and it uses a lot of power. So that's another industry or sector that benefits from AI, which is energy, because it uses a lot of energy. So they deal with cloud services. That's their goods and services with this company. So let's look at the about. Maybe that's at the top because I definitely don't see it at the bottom. So maybe this area right here. Go over to I'm looking for the here it is, company. So if I click that, about Oracle. So this is where we're going to look for the vision, mission statement, purpose, about us, and all that other good stuff. And I don't see it. All right, so we just going to go to careers. I think the last time we looked at Oracle, we looked at the leadership, but let's just look at careers. So I like to look for the benefits. That's what I'm browsing over and looking for. And if I miss it, it's because I'm kind of moving fast because we still got to look at the charts. And I'm kind of skeptical about this. I don't expect an employee to say something negative if they giving them an opportunity to put this on the website. I'm just skeptical about that. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think the employee would be silly enough to say something they don't like and they're going to put it on the website. I don't think so. So I don't see anything about actual benefits jumping out at me like we did on the other. Here it is. Benefits. So we found out where it was. We had to click around. So they talk about retirement plans here, life insurance. And I had to see this life insurance stuff comes up a lot more than you think. So I have a series down in the description where you can check that out. I have a 5-part series right now, and I'm gonna shoot 6, 7, and 8. And I got a surprise when I get done with those that I'm going to announce. But you can check out some details and information about life insurance. If you have policies, if you're an agent, if you're interested in it, it has a lot of powerful and valuable information in those videos. All right, so we browsed over this. We found that. Now let's look for the investors relations. And I think it was in company. I think I had seen it over here. Investors relations, about Oracle. Here it is, investors relations. So here's the stock information. I'm gonna zoom in. And we're gonna look for the actual stock quote and any tools that they have on their website. So if I click investors news, no. Financials, no. Overview, no. Can we click on this detailed chart view. There it is. So here's the stock quote information right here. Here's the charts they offer, and here are some more investor tools. All right, so we got the website out of the way. Let's go back to Think or Swim. We already have Oracle pulled up, so let's go to the charts. Ooh-wee. All right. So they were on a downtrend for a while. So this was September 2025. This specific date where they had the 52-week high. I'm going to cut the floating data box back on. That 52-week high took place on September 10th, 2025. And we are going to take the floating data box off and use another tool. I want to see which one of these candles. I think this one right here was lower. Yeah, this was the lowest price they've had since that high. So their 52-week low took place on, and I'm blocking it. The 52-week low is still blocking it. So I'm going to change this time frame. I'm going to change this to a 2-year daily chart, and I'm going to pull this over. But now when I did that, it took the 52-week. I believe it was this date right here. So this was April 21st, 2025. Change this back to a 1-year daily chart. And that was $121.24. So we're going to put this support here to find out what price that was. And if I mouse over it, cut the floating data box back on, make it easier for you to see. The low was $134.57, and that's exactly what the line gave us, okay? So this is the most recent low from that 52-week high. And I'm going to put this tool on there. So from that high down to that low, I want to get the percentage change to the downside. So I'll mouse over it. Put me back on the screen. I ain't blocking nothing anymore. So they lost 61%. So earlier in the video, we looked at an opportunity where the stock went up over 100%. Now, in this case with Oracle, from that April date, no, that wasn't April, from September 10th to April 10th, there was a 61% decline. Now, when we do the technical analysis, I'm going to take this floating data box off, guys. This drives me crazy. It was trading sideways. So you have a downtrend here. I'm going to take this off, remove drawing, and I'm going to show you the downtrend. So the downtrend is here. So that's when it was trending down, right? And then it caught support here and started trading sideways. And it's still in that sideways action. So here's the most recent low, and it's recovered since then, just a little bit. Let's see what that percentage change was from yesterday's high to today. 15.86%. So the total move from the low to the high was 6. I think that was 15, not 16. Yes, 15.86%. So that's what we're looking at with that. But with them being the winner today, let's go ahead and talk about the stock quote. So that's the quick technical analysis. Let's go ahead and do the stock quote. Put the floating data box back on. So Oracle opened today at $139.79. $139.77. They had a high of $155.91. They had a low of $139.72, and they closed today at $155.62, which was a trading range of $16.19. And when we look at their trading volume, they traded nearly 50 million shares of their stock today. So now let's look at the average so we can compare today's volume to what they usually get. So their average trading volume for this stock is 21.4 million. So the volume The volume rank percentile was 95.2%, which means out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 12 days had higher volume than today. And the previous close on Friday was 26.1 million shares traded when it came to the volume. So it has double the volume, roughly double the volume of what they traded on Friday when it came to today on Monday. All right, guys. We covered everything. So I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. Some people stuck around for a while. We had a nice number of people tuning in. Looked really good. So you already know. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you earned something. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the whole life insurance link I have down in the description. And make sure you tune in weekdays following a market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care and God bless.